Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge. How are we all feeling after what is the worst start to Manchester United's Premier League history ever, I think. I think it's 4 losses from 7. Well, it is, and it is our worst start to the Premier League season ever. Erik Ten Hag said there's no excuses. I think he also hinted that it's going to get worse before it gets better. There's a strong reality bite this morning, and there's a lot of things to talk about. I think the season is over. Some people would say that that's a bit sensationalist, but when you measure against the expectations, the season is over. Of course, it's not over in relation to we might achieve different things, but the expectations at the start of the season was that having finished 3rd last year, we'd take the next step and challenge Arsenal maybe for 2nd. That's not going to happen. Look at the league table next to me. It's not happening. Like, nothing's going to change. I've seen enough football this season to know that Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Man City, Villa, even Brighton, they're on a journey. They're on a journey this season that you know where that journey's going to be. We haven't even packed our bags to start the journey. Erik Ten Hag said after the game, there's no excuse. There are excuses, but if I give you them, people will just say I'm making excuses, and there are no excuses. I mean, pick the pips out of that. But what he's basically saying is there's reasons we're not winning games of football, and I can tell you why, but people will just say, well, that shouldn't be happening. He spoke about Marcus Rashford and said there needs to be more from Rashford, but there needs to be more from people around him. And it's not going to happen overnight. And it's not. It's quite simply not going to happen overnight. I've got a few things I want to get through this morning. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. This in no way is a Ten Hag out thing, by the way. And I'm very glad and proud of the fan base that I'm not seeing a lot of that. I think we've gone past that. I think there's a level of intellect here that you can let the mainstream do what they like. You know, they've got papers and clicks to sell. They'll push Ten Hag out. Of course they will. But it's not their club. It's our club. And we've seen this happen time and time again. Sacking a manager just gives us more of the same. We'll have a 1-year bounce and then we'll be back here again. It can't happen. I don't want the manager to be sacked. I don't, even if we lose more games, I don't want him to be sacked because that's not the solution here. The solution is top to bottom, break it all down and start again. Even with the stadium, you've got to renovate, and the whole club needs renovation. We are where we are because we are what we are. I said this after the game yesterday. It's a reality bite. I didn't even lose my shit when we conceded. I didn't lose my shit after the game because sometimes it's futile. Like, we are where we are. Chelsea are where they are. We're not good enough. Nothing has changed my opinion from yesterday. We're not good enough. That's the bottom line. And you've got to look at why we're not good enough. The solution for me, and I've got a few, but the solution for me is obviously wholesale change from top to bottom, but that might never happen. So let's get into it. Mark, can we please discuss how Rashford will lead to the demise of yet another manager, says Rahul. Well, Rashford is a hot topic. One Wipe, welcome to the members club. Jealous of you. We need the players to increase the tempo in the attack, says Fum. Thank you very much. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of ideas. Don't forget, I'm on this Sunday night show tonight as well, which will be interesting. But this is a news show. Look, that's the news. That's the league table. We're barely on page 1. We're in 10th place, and I think there is a possibility that if Forest or Brentford win today, we go down to page 2. 7 games gone, and we're on the edge of going on to page 2. Now, I look at that league table, and when I say season over, my expectations this year was deep in the Champions League and challenge Arsenal to challenge Man City. Not happening. Not happening. Man City, forget about it. Tottenham are better than us, Arsenal are better than us, Liverpool are better than us, Villa are better than us, Brighton are better than us. I'll tell you what, I think West Ham and Newcastle would like a go at us at the moment, and Crystal Palace have already beaten us. After 7 games, this is not... that is a fair reflection of the league. I mean, there is nobody in a false position there, is there? In my opinion, nobody's in a false position. Nobody's had a really hard start or a really easy start. I mean, look at the games we've lost. Brighton, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Spurs. They're all above us, and they deserve to be. They're better run clubs with better players, I would say, but more importantly, they've got a system. We're in a rebuild. Glazers out, says X. You know what? We're not in a rebuild. That's not the excuse. Is not a rebuild. We're not in a rebuild. We can't be in a rebuild. This has been going on since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. We're not in a rebuild. Ten Hag made progress last season. You don't make progress like third in a trophy and fall off a cliff in season 2. That's not progress. That's not a rebuild. That is a terminal problem at the football club. The football club is ill. It's sick. And it's not going to recover from this illness. It's terminal. And we can keep limping along, but the end game is the club will die as we know it. It's dying. Like there is no solution. There is no medicine right now in its current guise. The solution, the medicine, the cure is the Glazers go and the club gets proper owners. Now, the Glazers could go and we could get bad owners. The Glazers could stay with Sir Jim and it could go wrong. But the cure is a change of ownership. There is no magical pill. Sir Alex Ferguson was magical. He defied logic, what he did with the Glazers in charge. That will not happen now. Clubs are run better than they were between 2005 and 2012 when Sir Alex Ferguson still won things with the Glazers there. Many clubs are run better. Many clubs are better than us. There is no magic pill. The magic pill would be, some superstar player that comes through or a manager that can do it defying the logic. That can't happen. You sack Ten Hag today and you bring De Zerbi in tomorrow or even Pep, it doesn't work. So the cure for Man United is not going to happen until we have a change of ownership. That's why that league table looks like that. But the question is, what do you do in the short term? Because we can't all just sit here and go every week, well, nothing changes until the Glazers go, because that's been the case for, 15 years. So what do we do in the short term? Rashford is as bad as a Martial and needs to be dropped. They are the only two common denominators. Rory, I think you're individualising it way too much. Way too much. This is not on Rashford, and it's not on Martial, and it's not on Harry Maguire, and it's not on Scott McTominay. It's on a club that has realistically no vision. I'm not going to repeat what I said in the match reaction, but we've got no identity. We haven't got an identity. I watched Liverpool play with 9 men last night. They've got more of an identity than we have with 11. They know what they're doing. They know what they want to do. I watched Liverpool with 9 men, and when they get the ball, they know where to pass, and then they know where the next pass is, and they'll play through a team with 11 men, and they're organised. Like, we are a shambles. Like, there is no fluidity. There is no chemistry in that United attack. And that's not under Ten Hag. It's been like it for years. Under Mourinho, under Solskjaer, we've got no identity. We're Manchester United. Manchester United, the United way. That's going to go down in history, in a dictionary somewhere, where people will forget it existed. It's a way of playing football. It's an identity. The way of Manchester United, look, many people have different interpretations, but effectively, Manchester United is risk-taking football. It's people in the box. It's wing play. It's entertaining, and it's 100% effort from everybody. Do we hit the brief on any of those things? And have we hit the brief on any of those things for 10 years? And I think this is solution 1 for me, and I don't think anything's going to change. My statement here is, nothing is going to change. I don't think we're going to see a different way of Man United playing. But for me, the most obvious way to do it, and you must always have a suggestion. This club has not been run like a top club since the Glazers came in, says Sam. It's been treated as a prize milk cow that has now been milked to mediocrity. Sam, there we go. Milked to mediocrity. And also, half the team yesterday were Ten Hag signings. We should see glimpses of what we're trying to do. Ten Hag has to take responsibility for that, says Amit. Of course he does. And he does take responsibility. And I don't think anybody's saying Ten Hag isn't blameless. Ten Hag himself will take the blame. He has. But the difference here is we can all blame Ten Hag, and I will rip through a number of things that are going wrong that he could change tomorrow, and I don't think he will. But thankfully, most people can blame Ten Hag for yesterday and the start to the season, but also go, it's pointless sacking him. He is not the problem. And that's where I'm encouraged, because if we go after the manager, we're just leaving the Glazers alone. If we go after the manager, we're leaving the players alone. We can't afford to spend the next 4 months forcing a manager out to be back here again in a year or two. This time has to be different. Yes, Ten Hag's making mistakes, and I'm going to call some of them out now, but he is not the problem.